Killer Kelly Fantasy Football.
We're doing this thing live.
I'm fucking ready. Clear out the wives and the children. It's time to get fucking wild. I'm glad the fire and the passion is real.
Everybody gets a little taste of the wrath of the podcast.
I'm gonna remember this fucking day, you bastard.
It's a good way to start the season right there.
Go fuck yourselves.
You just proved that you have never listened to one of these podcasts before. What the fuck are you doing?
We need to look at the real person to blame. These fucking guys going absolutely ape shit on you.
This isn't about picking friends. This is about picking winners.
That's stupid. How do you feel after getting your ass kicked?
Firing on multiple cylinders right now.
You bastard. That's gonna be a good one. Get into it. Get into it.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Getting into it. Fucking 2 weeks. 2 weeks of this season left. There's not a lot of time.
No. Well, not for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, for you, there's plenty of time.
I'm gonna just put my feet up here. You know, the one time I will just go ahead and say it. First to lock up a playoff spot. First to lock up a bye. I guess that's all I have to say.
And then in the future, first to be eliminated from playoffs.
I really hope that's not the case. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're sitting there doing very well right now. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, statistically, there's no way you could be eliminated from the playoffs. You have at least first or second place locked up. So, yeah, you're doing pretty well. The rest of the league, however, has a lot to play for, and I think everybody else is statistically has a chance to make the playoffs.
Everybody does. Yeah. Every single person with 2 games out can make the playoffs. It's pretty crazy because, okay, so we talk about so we don't really need to talk, as far as standings are concerned, we don't really need to talk about me. I'm just too cool.
We already talked about you enough at this point. Yeah,
exactly. I can already see the wincing on everybody's faces. So let's go down the list a little bit. There is a battle. There is a real battle for that second playoff spot. Because John is, I mean, with the way everything ended up playing out this weekend, he does have a nice little boost. He's 2 games ahead of Derek in third place, who has solidified his third place at 6-5. Nobody else is at 6-5. Right. We got that cluster at 5-6, and then the 3 at 4-7. So, but if I'm not mistaken, with 2 games left, and John did say he was playing Derek at the end of the season. I think, this game. If John loses all the rest of his games and Derek wins, including that last one, obviously, Derek can easily take that number 2 spot.
Yeah, seriously. And I'm just peeking ahead to week 13, just taking a little look at that. Yeah, they do play each other the last week of the season, so there's no way that they can tie in records. So that game next week could have a huge implication on a bye week, potentially.
Depending. Yeah. Basically, what has to happen this week is it's either John has to lose. It's basically John has to lose and Derek has to win. Yeah. That's the only way.
And then that final game is going to be huge between them.
Because either way, with a Derek, even if Derek wins this week, if John wins this week, it's over.
It
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it won't matter.
So there you go. So basically, in order for us to all see a big battle for that number 2 spot, certain things have to happen this weekend. So
we'll say could not give 2 fucks about a big battle for the second bye.
I guess because everybody is so hungry.
Because it's not me. If it's not me fighting for that spot, I don't give a fuck.
Well, wait a minute. Now, Sean, you are one of these guys that's clustered at one of 4 guys clustered at 5-6. Now this is a fight for 3 spots. 4, 5, and 6. I would say for the most part, there's very little. I mean, I guess.
See, here's the thing, though.
Okay, so
if any one of us 4 wins this week and Derek loses, then all of a sudden we've got a big jumble for 3rd through 6th place.
Okay, so at that point in time, so if John wins or Derek loses this weekend, number 2 is already taken.
Yeah.
So then the rest of the fight will be for 3 through 6.
Yep.
Well, how is that going to shake out? Derek obviously can fall. I guess he could fall all the way to 6 and 7. And what if everybody else wins out? He could fall all the way down. Can he fall out of the playoffs?
I don't know about that because I have to imagine that some of these 5 and 6 teams are going to match up against each other in the next 2 weeks. So
speaking of which, I thought I did have the matchups up somewhere just so we know.
Yeah,
just looking at the standings. All right, so
actually,
so week 12. This week we've got
none of the 5 and 6 teams actually play each other this week. So this could be an interesting week.
Yes, so you've got, I would say, the few interesting games that we have going on. I would say definitely yours and Phil's this week.
Yeah, big game there. Phil needs to win, as do I, but he needs to win more than I do.
Yeah, same with Misha. Same with me. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, Misha and Joey need to win, and then Derek and Nick is a huge one, and then you've got kind of the outlier games with you and Glasgow there.
Well, yeah. So yeah. John and I are like both playing people that obviously need to win. I think I'm playing in a more desperate scenario for Chris because Chris is one of those 4 and 7 teams, has to win to keep it on up. Jimmy, same scenario, kind of has to
stay with the pack at least.
Now,
Jimmy does have the advantage of the most points right now, but I don't think that really speaks too much with 2 weeks left because if you look at the points. It's honestly pretty fucking close.
What? Who? Oh, wow.
Like Jimmy's got like 36 or 37 more than me and you do, and then Phil is right below us. Derek's right there. Even Glasgow's right there. So there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking on the points as well. So it's going to be very difficult to actually try and predict what's going to happen just because standings are going to change. People's points for are going to change, and that will affect the standings too. It's a fucking jumble for sure.
Let me ask you something. Can any of these 5 and 6 teams afford a loss?
I think, I don't know, I have to look into it more. I think if anyone could, it would be me and Jimmy, just because we do have a little bit of cushion on the points for that could end up helping us. At least that wouldn't hurt us.
Now,
beyond that, it's really hard to say.
But at the same time, if any one of those 4 and 7 teams ends up getting a win, then we'll all have the same record. But unless there's a huge swing of points, then they would have the same record as Jimmy and I. But we would still have more points for, so we would be higher in the standings with that same record. Yeah, Phil is one of the top high points. So I would say, because you got Chris and Misha, the other 4 and 7s, they're near the bottom.
Exactly.
Almost
so
100 points behind.
They're the ones, if anything, kind of don't really control their own destiny. The Mishas, the Chris's, and the Joeys, I would say.
They just have to win.
They just have to win, and then probably hope for a little bit of luck that some other people lose as well. Just that's what happens when you just don't have the points on your side.
Well, it's I would definitely say this is going to be interesting. I mean, I'm not really sure how to say how it's all going to play out. I feel it's so dependent on all of these matchups in like the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Do you want to maybe quickly go over what happened this last week?
Man, yeah, it almost feels weird to we just talked forward so much. It almost feels weird to go back, but I guess it's only fair that we do at least touch on the matchups from last week, even though I am desperately trying to forget last week because my team just put up a little piece of shit, basically.
Well, you know what I'm kind of curious about? I was kind of curious about the voodoo, the fantasy voodoo, like how this all ended up working. Because I thought what happened last week when we had John on is
a lot of voodoo.
A lot of fucking strange voodoo going on, where we swept almost every single pick that we made, like except for one, and then all of a sudden we went back and we decided to sweep it.
Yeah, I think we were. Let me see. I'm looking at Chris here. Yeah, we actually did pretty well, I would say, on our picks.
Oh wow,
All
okay.
three of us picked Nick, and he won. Let's see. Well, you no, we all picked Derek, but he lost, even though you
Well,
guys convinced me to change my pick from Joey.
I think the reason we had picked him to wait, we picked him to win.
We picked Derek to win.
So maybe there's the fantasy voodoo right there.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah,
exactly
because
what John
that's what
wanted.
John wanted. So the voodoo definitely helped him out right there.
And so we were trying
The
to
voodoo
give.
did not work because we all picked you to win, and you actually did win. So
No,
no,
the voodoo's with me. You guys don't realize that my grandmother has a whole bunch of cats, like, and I've been living with my grandmother for a little bit.
yeah,
She goes through cats like crazy. It's because I
she
keep
goes through cats. What is?
It's because I keep sacrificing them all.
Oh Jesus!
Gotta get I don't know what Joey's been doing all this time, but I think it's got to be something like this. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying my very best to voodoo my way to the top.
I need to see like a little webcam of you watching football on Sundays. There's a lot of weird shit going on. You're like throwing beer on the window. You're
All right,
you're fucking
okay.
killing cats, and I mean
Okay.
it is
Well,
a
the
serious
big-
situation over that. If that's how you get to 9-2, then you have earned it, I would say.
Well, no, you know how you get to 9-2? It's when your actual team that you're rooting for is just fucking absolutely shit in the bed, and not in like that they suck, and like that they
They just
compete.
blow it.
Oh, they just blow it. They rip your guts out. It's miserable, and somehow, some way, my fantasy team rewards me. I swear, the few weeks that I ended up losing, I would love to go back, and I'm pretty sure both of those weeks are Charger wins.
I would love to sacrifice the 49ers in any way, shape, or form if that would get me fantasy wins.
Hey,
Because I'll tell you this. I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching the Raiders and the Houston game, the one in
Yeah.
Mexico from Monday night, and
Yeah.
just some of the shit calls that the refs are making, and these
Oh.
plays that are like, okay, well, they could just review that so they can at least get the right call. Oh, no, that type of play is not reviewable. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, just get the call right. Like, why are certain plays reviewable and not? And I guess what I'm getting at here is fantasy to me is so much more important than regular football. I almost don't give a shit about regular football. It's such a weird fucking thing, the NFL. If it weren't for fantasy, I probably would not care that much about football. So I don't know. I
would bet that if fantasy were not a thing, besides maybe a few people in our league, John, I'm talking about you fucking gambling fool.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing about almost everybody in our league, because
A lot of them, yeah.
I was always kind of into football, I guess. Definitely always into the Chargers, and sort of loosely cared about things that were going on around the league. But once I started playing fantasy football, that totally drove my interest in just learning more about the modern game. All the big stars of today. All the upcoming stars of tomorrow. It just all of a sudden it just fueled this really big interest into the football product. But at the same time, I don't care about the football product and who wins and who loses. All I really care about is how well I do.
Exactly.
And if I'm not playing fantasy football, I probably won't be watching it. But now we're getting actually serious, like a fucking news hour, interview segment. We don't need to get this in depth. All right.
We don't need to get that in depth. I was thinking about that, and I was like, I can't wait for the podcast this week because I really wanted to get that off my chest.
If I was going to couch you, if I was going to be the therapist, I would say that little outburst of yours was strictly because, we said we weren't going to really talk about these games all that much, but in your particular loss, there was a really juicy play that might have actually given you a win.
I don't know if it would have actually given me the win, but it would have made things a whole lot more interesting. And
how long was it? How long? All right, so it was a DeAndre Hopkins touchdown at the beginning that was called
it was in
back.
the first quarter. Yeah, he went. It was a 60+ yard touchdown.
Okay, all right. Well,
and,
so 6 points. 6 points would already put you above, like well above 100. You'd be at 105 with 6 points.
Right.
Just on the 60-yard touchdown.
Exactly.
So
and
what you get?
Plus the yards or the touchdown on that, and then I don't know. It's hard to say because if he does make that play, it changes the whole kind of shape of the game. The score changes in the actual game. And you never know what could happen from there. He could get over 100 yards, get a bonus point, get more catches. You never know. But in general, I just have a bone to pick with the NFL and its stupid fucking rules. And yeah, the DeAndre Hopkins hit me personally, but in general, as I watch football, it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, why don't you just have robots just make all these calls? Just get the call right every time.
Okay, that's fair enough. I could be okay with robots making the call, but at the same time, you can't have pretty shit happening like, God, what was it? The Doug Baldwin to Russell Wilson touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, how awesome was, like, there are things about football and fantasy football that make it fun. Like,
for sure.
Reality does sometimes not always disappoint. But I will agree that for the most part, the NFL needs to get their reffing. They need to pay these guys. It needs to be a 365, job, and they need to pay these guys a shit ton because they need and basically hold them accountable. And if they're not absolutely perfect, then fuck it, do away with it and make it all be like cameras. I don't care. Make them all be in New York. Like make it. They're not even refs anymore. The sound's controlled by some fucking comm thing in New York, dude.
And I know I know this is going to make an impact because we know Derek doesn't listen to this podcast, but I do know that Roger Goodell listens to this podcast, and so Roger, get your shit together, would you?
I don't have anything to say, Roger. You and I are we're already pretty tight, obviously, by my record. That can be seen.
Roger, put Brian's cat down.
Yeah. Hey, that's my job, Raj. Don't worry about that. I'll get to that sacrificing. Well, okay. So I don't know. So yeah, there were a lot of crazy things that did end up playing out with all these games last week.
Let's not get into the actual like players and stuff because I think that'll just take too long. Like maybe we could just do quick highlights on like for example, Chris got another win. That's 2 wins in a row for him. He's not the last place team anymore and has a legitimate shot of making the playoffs. So got a nice big win against Misha there. So I thought that was a pretty impactful moment of last week. What else? Joey was on a huge, I think a 6-game skid and busted out of that. Finally got a nice big win over Derek to keep himself in contention. And then Nick got I would say a much needed win as well to kind of keep him in that bottleneck of what's now the 5 and 6 teams. So a lot of moving and shaking that happened the week before kind of bottlenecked itself back up in that midsection of the standings. And like we were saying before, a lot of people, everybody's in the playoff picture right now.
It's pretty crazy. And I think it's obviously we were talking about earlier how it's going to shape up, coming this week. So by the time everybody hears this, it probably most likely will be on Thanksgiving. So this will
hopefully listening with your families. I want to say what's up to all the moms out there.
That's kind of creepy, Sean. But
shit, I forgot. Did I say that out loud?
Well, it's okay. We have said put away the wives and the children. It's time to get fucking wild. But it's time to eat some fucking turkey and get wild with the family.
This is not about making friends. It's about making friends with your friends' moms. Or maybe we'll come up with a different slogan for this podcast. I don't know.
That is absolutely going in the next audio, the next music sound clip. It's not about making friends. It's about making friends with your friends' moms. So let's kind of get into this upcoming week because it's going to be big. It's going to be crazy. There are Thursday games. There's 3 of them. how is it going to be shaken? Okay, let's first of all, let's say do you think, in your opinion, are the biggest matchups this week?
Yeah, there's a couple big matchups, and we kind of teased them before. Nick and Derek at Nick's 5-6, Derek 6-5. That's obviously a huge one. You've got Misha going against Joey, 4-7, 5-6. And then for myself, 5-6 going against Phil at 4-7. So a lot of those kind of bottom to midsection teams are matching up against each other. So either the middle teams are going to get closer to the playoffs, or the bottom teams are going to just make it even more of a jumble for the last week of the season.
I hope. I mean, I don't want anybody. If we all could win the trophy, I would say we all get participation trophies.
Oh yeah, participation ribbons for everybody. Let's just go out to go out and get ice cream and just call it a season.
Oh fuck! But at the same time, like, I just want it to be exciting. I like the fact that if it came down to week 13 and still everybody has a shot to make it in, that would be crazy. That would be nuts. Like, we're not going to know who the playoff teams are going to be until the very last week of the season. After so that would be nuts. So why don't we talk about some of these big matchups? Let's start off with Derek and Nick, for instance.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Take a little peek-see here. This one's interesting. Also, good segue to note, we had another trade that actually went through. This was a very, very interesting trade, in my opinion. As far as Nick's side, because
Nick's side? Interesting.
I mean, I think we can safely talk about this, because I think by the time people listen to this, that trade will have actually fully gone through.
I'm not gonna be vetoing it. I don't think there's anything.
I'm not vetoing it either. I mean, there's nothing to veto. But it's just an interesting trade, because Nick obviously is looking for quarterback help, but he just gave away two very serviceable pieces of his team that he could use right now to get a quarterback that's in concussion protocol and isn't going to play this week.
I understand that point. Okay, so let's talk about this from both sides. Let's talk about from where the side that you understand it. Go ahead. Why don't you argue Chris's position? I'll argue Nick's position.
So I honestly haven't taken a huge look at Chris's position. I guess he has Dak Prescott. So that's
it.
That's like good. You've got a serviceable quarterback that looks like somebody you can use for the foreseeable future and beyond.
Look at Dak's numbers over the last couple
I have him in my other league, and he has been amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's what and for the most part, you look at his schedule. Minnesota, I don't think they're the same defense that they were at the beginning of the season. New York Giants, which I think is always like, I feel the Cowboys and the Giants always have really interesting games against each other. For instance, that was Dak's only loss was the first game of the season against the Giants. So that could be, him playing so much better. That could be like a revenge game.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, Detroit, like, he has got just
a good schedule.
He's got a really good schedule, but there are pieces of Chris's team that have been lacking for just the longest time.
Yeah, and I would say receivers are definitely part of that picture. I guess if I had to sum up my opinion and just say who got the better end of that deal, I think I would have to give it to Chris, because he's got guaranteed pretty solid pieces that have a lot of upside. And I don't know. I just don't think that Andrew Luck has a huge amount of upside. I get that Nick's already looking ahead beyond this week and into week 13, into the playoffs, which he doesn't even know if he's going to make the playoffs, first of all.
No, but I know why he made the trade that he did.
Yeah, why don't you let's hear it.
Okay, because if you look at this and understand everything that just happened this very, very last week, all right? Robert Kelly got 3 touchdowns. I finally actually got to watch Robert Kelly for the first time this last Sunday. Have you ever seen him before?
Not much, but I did see his highlights from this last week, and he looks really good. Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's big, and he looks strong.
Yeah.
And the little bit of that game that I did get to watch, man, he looked like a running back. And then seeing his stat line at the end of the day, that makes me believe that Washington has found themselves another good, a good workhorse like Alfred Morris in his, that first rookie season where he was just, pretty crazy. But on top of Robert Kelly, C.J. Prosise goes down. Nick already had
Rawls on the wings.
On his bench. He had Devontae Booker when C.J. Anderson went down, so he already has another starting back.
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy has been really, really awesome. What Nick wants to do is Nick wants to roll with 4 running backs, and if you look at Jarvis Landry and Kelvin Benjamin's numbers,
they've been mediocre.
Yes, over the last few weeks.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I do see that side of it too. It's not a bad trade by any means.
So basically, the way I would say from Nick's perspective, this is probably what he thinks he's doing. He's upgrading at QB, the position he was desperate at already, and he's shedding some weight at positions that he feels he doesn't necessarily need. He still has Mike Evans. He still has Odell Beckham. But now he's got 4 starting running backs, going.
Which is nice, which is great. I just Andrew Luck, I think, is the piece that just doesn't really impress me. I mean, he's getting sacked a lot. He's injury risk every week, and then you look at his playoff schedule at Minnesota, at Oakland, who's been really good at home this year. I mean, Jacksonville is kind of whatever, but that's a tough 3-game playoff schedule right there. So it's just. I get it. I think that's Andrew Luck might be an upgrade over Matt Stafford.
I would say Andrew Luck is definitely an upgrade over Matt Stafford.
And I guess Nick is not giving up a ton. He's not really He's not losing a lot to get.
He's not giving up Odell. He's not giving up Mike Evans. He's not giving up any LaShawn McCoy. Any one of those best pieces that he had. He gets to keep all those good pieces, use all the things that he picked up. And now he's putting together what he thinks could be a playoff team, but you have to get to the playoffs first. Just so you know, Matt Stafford, last 4 weeks he's played 19, 15, 18, and 11.
Yeah, that's not going to be winning you any fantasy championships. So I guess, Andrew Luck has a lot more upside as well as a little bit of risk, I guess, too.
Okay, well, so we've talked a little bit about that trade, and now getting into this, so most likely Nick's lineup is going to stay the same. He's not going to be playing Landry or Benjamin, obviously. He's not going to have when he has Andrew Luck, like you said, he's probably not going to be playing. So this week he's most likely going to be rolling with Stafford at Minnesota.
Yeah, well, Andrew Luck's already been ruled out because he's playing on Thursday.
Yeah, you got Tolzien
out.
Tolzien, whoever.
Yeah, so Nick will be. Yeah, this is what Nick's lineup will look like. I mean, his lineup honestly looks pretty good. The only question, obviously, as you see, is LaShawn McCoy. From what I've been hearing, he is, I guess, supposed to play, or he's on track to play, but he just had surgery on his finger on Monday, so kind of don't know what's going to happen with that. Otherwise, I think Nick's lineup honestly looks pretty good right now.
I'd say so too. On the other side of the coin, man, Jesus, the last 4 weeks, Aaron Rodgers has solidified himself into the number 1 quarterback position.
Shit, 41, are you serious? Is that he actually is number 1 right now?
In the last 4 weeks.
Oh, the last 4 weeks, yep.
No. Now he is overall the number 1 quarterback. And that's because of the last 4 weeks. So here are the numbers. Or shit, I'll even go back 5 weeks. 29, 41, 31, 30, and 35.
That's crazy. Yeah, he eked out Drew Brees by 2 points overall for the entire season. Yeah, with that big 35 last week. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is certainly they're not winning games, but he is firing right now. Yeah,
so let's just say where Nick is going to be weakest for this week. That's definitely where
that could be
Derek
a big
is strongest.
Swing right there. And it's interesting because Aaron Rodgers is going on Monday night, so Nick's going to be
Stafford is going
sweating
on Thursday.
Yeah, so Nick's going to know his team's fate well before Derek knows what his team's going to be looking like.
I would say so. I mean, Nick's got two players going on Thursday. He's got Matt Stafford and Robert Kelly.
Yeah,
So it's going to be interesting.
and that said, Derek does have a couple pieces on
He's got
Thursday
three.
too.
Yeah, he's got three.
Antonio Brown, Cole Beasley, and Dustin Hopkins. So they'll know a lot early, and then Monday is going to be a big swing for to see how that's actually going to shape up. Man, yeah, I'm looking up and down Derek's lineup, and yeah, I don't know. I'm curious if he's done tinkering or if this is his full lineup, because you look at some of the pieces he has on his bench, and I could see some people coming in and out there. So I don't really know what he's gonna do.
Like what?
Like Theo Riddick and even Adam Vinatieri, who's been arguably the best kicker of the year up until maybe the last few games. But I guess when Indy's got that other dude at quarterback, maybe there won't be as many scoring opportunities. So maybe he's gonna play Dustin Hopkins instead.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's exactly what they're thinking. I don't know.
I think I've got to give the edge to Nick on this one.
I think so too. I mean, even though where Derek beats Nick, he beats him hard, and Derek still has Antonio Brown against a team that doesn't have Andrew Luck, that's going with their second or third string, whoever it's going to be. Greg Olsen against Oakland, that's going to be a tough one. Yeah, you know what? I feel Nick does have a much more rounded team, except for quarterback, where I think it's still going to be a little bit weak. If his other pieces can come up big, yeah, I could easily see Nick coming away with it. So, but, a lot depends on how this, how Thursday obviously goes. Derek's got 3 pieces, Nick's got 2 pieces. We'll see, but I'm going to agree with you, Sean. I think Nick's got an edge.
Yeah, I would be a whole lot more confident if Nick's quarterback position was a little stronger, because I mean, going up against Minnesota is pretty difficult, 4th ranked against the QB. If let's say Matt Stafford, has just a dink and dunk game for like 12 points, and Aaron Rodgers goes for like 37. That's a huge swing right there, and that's a lot of ground to make up for. So definitely could go either way, but
yes,
I think
could.
Every other position, I think Nick is looking a little stronger there.
I think regardless of who actually does win or lose, I think both of us agree that this is going to hinge on Aaron Rodgers' performance.
Yeah, I think Derek needs another big performance from A-Rod to have something there, have a win.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think all right. So we will go ahead and give Nick that edge. Now we were also talking about who was it? Joey and
Misha. Yeah, Misha's definitely in a must-win situation. I think if Misha loses this game, you may be able to eliminate him from the true playoff picture. I can't say that 100%, but yeah, he's already down at the bottom, so he's in must-win territory.
Shit. And well, Gronk was he was limited in practice, so it might be possible that he plays.
Yeah, that's a wait and see, I think. And obviously, I would think if Gronk plays, then Misha will find a way to throw him into his lineup, probably in that flex spot.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham actually didn't participate in Wednesday's practice. That's not good.
Interesting. Yeah, he's got a couple injury concerns there.
And Stephon Diggs is unlikely as right now, as much as it says, and he's playing tomorrow, is unlikely to play.
Whoa, that's a surprise. I hadn't heard about that. That could be a big blow. It looks like
I don't know what I mean. Misha can move Mike Wallace into that position and put like T.J. Yeldon, or actually, no, put Rashad Jennings in. Rashad against Cleveland. Ooh.
Yeah, Misha's always the guy that I guess is pretty adamant of I'm not looking too much at my team during the week. Obviously, he has to with so many Thursday games going on. But Misha's gonna have.
If this happens to come out somehow before any of the games, you better run to your fucking phone and switch that shit up. You got some work to do. Come on.
Oh, you got Coach Brian Grove over here coming down your throat. You don't want that fury.
No.
So, Misha's got a little bit of tinkering to do with some of those injuries there, I would say. I don't think his lineup's going to look the same come this weekend. I feel like we say that every
week. Start tomorrow.
Yeah, start tomorrow. Fuck.
I mean,
if Diggs isn't playing tomorrow, he's got to do something about that.
Yep. Okay, so looking at this right now, knowing that it might slightly switch on up.
Looking
Yeah,
at Joey's team here.
Joey has a lot of pieces that look primed and ready to go, but at the
I
same
will
time,
say he's got a couple really. I think Joey's team is very polarizing. He's got a few pieces that are primed to go. Like obviously David Johnson, probably the most valuable fantasy asset, questionably this year.
he's the number one. I
Yeah.
mean, 31 points last week, 23 the week before.
I mean, just such a fucking stud. It's absolutely beyond belief how good he is. Travis Kelsey is good to go.
Hey, Rashard Matthews has been pretty
He's
fucking
been
awesome.
really solid the last 3-4 weeks. That's a good. I see that continuing because Mariota has been just slanging it around. But then you get into some kind of questionable pieces, like number one, Brandon Marshall. Like, god damn it, what the fuck do you do about Brandon Marshall? Like, he's so good as a player, you feel like you have to play him every week, but he has been fucking dog shit this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the same time, like I actually forgot. I totally forgot when Chris pointed it out to me earlier. I lost Eric Decker. I totally forgot about Eric Decker.
Oh my god, yeah.
The no man that I was so fucking
Yeah,
upset.
didn't he go out in like week 1? Like he got injured.
No. I had him for like at
he was
least
that
3-4
long?
weeks. Yeah, because his first 2 games he had like touchdowns. Like he had touchdown in every single game. Like I was talking so much shit on Eric Decker when I got him on my team. Like this son of a bitch. The only reason that he's ever drafted is because he gets lucky. He gets those fucking touchdowns. And then the first 2 weeks he's like, oh, that's exactly what he does. He just gets those fucking touchdowns. But I felt that. I don't know, that Brandon Marshall always seemed to do really well when he had that pairing wideout, like Alshon Jeffrey and him going back and forth. They both were putting up big numbers. When I feel on the Jets when he had Eric Decker also going well, like the year before this year. He was doing.
Yeah,
he was doing.
I
pretty
agree.
Well.
I agree to a lot of extent to that, but there's also been the quarterback play of the Jets this year with Fitzpatrick has been
Horrible,
so
yeah.
fucking bad. I don't really think it's not Brandon Marshall's fault at all. Like the talent's obviously still there, but I mean, what do you do when your quarterback is?
I had Fitz. I had him at one point.
Yeah, well,
Imagine what my
last year he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what my season would have looked like if I had not picked up Matt Ryan or Andy Dalton. I would have been stuck with Fitzpatrick and fucking.
Oh, dude, so many fucking dead cats.
Everybody's cat in San Diego would have gone missing.
Yeah, Brian, get out of the Humane Society. You're not welcome here.
Yeah, dude, what is going on? Why are all of our cats being adopted by fucking, the movie characters or fucking cartoon characters? So what is this list, Brian? Oh, I'm telling you. They were all nice people.
Brandon Marshall, questionable play week in, week out. It's tough. That's a tough one. I would say this week, Dante Moncrief is a little bit questionable because of the quarterback.
I'm worried about T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, I would say
T.Y.
a bit of a safer play because he gets more of the volume, and Dante Moncrief does not get a lot of volume. He's the end zone target. So.
Yeah, you're right. And I heard a weird stat about Moncrief is that like however many games, it's like the last 10 games or so that he played with Andrew Luck, he's gotten a touchdown in 8 of them.
Crazy. Yeah, he's the favorite end zone target for Andrew Luck. And yeah, so if Luck's not there, could be a tough game for Moncrief. I mean, you never know. You never know with that, but certainly downgrades his value. Randall Cobb has been surprisingly pretty quiet, especially the last 4 weeks. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I'm sure Joey's not too happy about that.
Who's that other wideout that Chris has going on?
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, who's taken over. Well, I don't think he's really the same position, but
not like Jordy. Like Jordy's been pretty solid.
Jordy's been solid. He's been solid, yeah.
And what's his name? That tight end that you just picked up?
Jared Cook.
Yeah, the guy from the
Rams. Yeah.
And he was on another team before that. I think he was on the Titans for a little while.
He might have. Yeah, I think he might have been. That sounds about right.
Okay, I can't remember, but Anyway, yeah. So I'm not sure about Randall. Like, yeah. And the other thing, Philip actually has just come off of his bye, and the thing is even with 4 interceptions last week, he still put up 23 points.
Wait, sorry, who are you talking about?
Philip Rivers.
Oh, right.
For
Yeah,
Joey.
yeah. 4 fucking interceptions, but
It was
3
God,
TDs
that
and
game
over
was-
300 yards. Like,
Game was
God
so bad.
damn.
The game was so bad. Oh
Yeah.
God, I hate this is the thing about fantasy football.
Yeah,
that
it's
makes me
tough.
it's a saving grace about football, because sometimes the Chargers make me not want to watch football. But so I'm still expecting something similar. Houston has a decent defense. They've always played San Diego really, really well. I don't know. I think Philip might have a similar game. I don't think he has a huge game. I think another 20-point game is a safe bet.
Yeah.
Will Lutz. Who the fuck?
Oh, New Orleans kicker?
New Orleans kicker. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Yeah,
choice.
just another kicker.
Another kicker,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. What do you
So,
think about this, Sean?
Man, I think I would have to give the nod to Joey on this one, just because I see a lot of red flags in Misha's lineup. Like, not a lot of people excite me. Duke Johnson does not excite me. Obviously, if Stefan Diggs is not playing, that's a huge blow.
Does
If
Cam
Gronk
Newton excite
doesn't-
you?
No, he does not. Has not been able to figure it out this season. Like,
Last four
Man.
weeks, 12, 16.
Not
He has a
good.
25, and then 13 last week.
and at Oakland, I mean, honestly, Oakland is a different team than we're used to seeing, and especially at home, their fans have come alive, and there's a electricity that's going on there. I would be surprised if Cam Newton somehow throws up a big game. So not excited. One piece I am a little excited about for Misha is Jeremy Hill, only because Gio Bernard is on IR now.
And AJ Green is
And AJ
done.
Green, so it's like, I mean, they'll have to find new targets to throw to, but that could mean a bigger running game for them.
I'll run it all the time. Exactly. I don't trust Dalton for anything.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't trust him throwing to a whole bunch
Is
of
he
number
still on your
threes.
team? Do you still have Dalton on your team?
Yeah, Dalton's
You don't
a decent
trust
guy.
him, but you trust him enough to keep him in your lineup though.
Well, let's just put it this way. I had him to get through this last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Matt Ryan was on bye. I felt throughout the season with AJ Green on that team, dude, Dalton's a good play. Like,
Yeah, he's got a high floor. His ceiling may not be that high, but he's got a high floor though.
exactly. And the thing is I felt like if I could play the matchups a little bit more. Like, both quarterbacks were kind of even with the upside to Matt Ryan, right? But
Yep.
I could sort of play the matchups a little bit. And it's played out. But yeah, I do agree. I think Jeremy Hill is going to be definitely interesting down the stretch. This game in particular, it's not really good matchup because it's a Baltimore division game.
Yeah,
that's
going
going
to be a tough game.
So I'm going to agree. I'm going to give the edge a big like, not even an edge. I'm going to go ahead and say Joey is probably going to go ahead and take this one away. Now, Misha could put in Rashad Jennings, take out Stephon Diggs if he's not playing.
Yeah.
Gronk
could get in. Yep.
Yeah, so there could be some things that switch on up. But as it looks right now, I'll give it to Joey.
Yeah. Yep. With you there, obviously. So, okay.
So I guess we talked about you. That was the other big matchup. You and
yeah, got a big matchup with
Phil.
Phil. I would say I'm worried. Phil's team has been putting up some pretty big points pretty consistently for a lot of this year. His 4-7 record is very deceiving because he's got a lot of points scored against him. So I'm not taking his standing very lightly. And yeah, I mean,
Oh God, this
he's
is
got
actually
he's got a pretty loaded team.
I'm sorry, Sean. I like a lot of his matchups.
Oh, I am, dude. All right, I'm turning off this podcast right now with that comment. No, I'm with you. I look up and down his lineup, and he gets to throw Melvin Gordon back in his lineup.
And Devontae Freeman.
Yeah,
and
Devontae
Devontae
Freeman. The only thing I would say about Devontae Freeman is that Tevin Coleman is supposed to come back this week, so that at least could eat into some of Freeman's productivity. Which,
But I don't think but even still, as much as I understand, even when Tevin Coleman was producing, so is
Oh,
Devontae Freeman.
yeah, I would say it's a
It was like
little
both of the backs were
a little
going.
less consistent, where
Yeah,
he would have some kind of huge games and then some not so huge games, but
he's got. Hey,
yeah,
hey, Devontae Freeman has two receiving touchdowns this year.
it's crazy.
And he's averaging anywhere from like three. He's got all the way up to five in a couple games, four in a couple games, three in multiple games, two catches. So he definitely gets the ball. As far as
Yeah.
catching it a little bit. I thought that's more been Tevin Coleman's
Right. So
Tevin
you
Coleman
think they
role.
might revert back to that if they, do the chuck down passes? Those will go to Tevin Coleman again.
Yeah,
And
and
I mean, it's
Devontae,
just
and a
Tevin
little bit
Coleman
to
will
Devon.
be out there more for like the third downs and stuff like that. So
Maybe.
you just figure less touches for Freeman overall. But
But I'm
again,
not worried. I'm not worried about
Freeman
Freeman.
has that big playability. He could go off at any time. So that's not a huge move the needle situation. But Todd Gurley had one of his better games last week, so I mean, and he's playing New Orleans, which is
Yeah, and
fucking garbage. So
they are very friendly to the running back, 27th against the opposing running backs.
yeah,
So that could be a good one. Dallas is, a pretty, I don't know, I want to call them a cake defense. 19th against the quarterback. So they've let up some big games.
the only
But
good thing about Dallas is that on offense they hold the ball for so long because they
yeah,
run it so much that that could take Kirk Cousins off the field a little bit more than normal. But
maybe,
but
but
that I still expect that game would be a shootout, a
yeah,
high scoring
I'm
affair.
thinking. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a decent game. Like, dude, and not only that, like, obviously we talked about Melvin Gordon coming back. Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin. The last couple weeks has been. Wow, 11, 26, where he got 3 touchdowns. And then
Yeah.
last week where he fucking threw a touchdown.
Let's not see any more of that.
No, probably not any more of that. But at the same time, going up against Tampa Bay,
That's a good
that's
matchup for him
really,
right
really
there.
nice. Terrell Pryor has been really interesting. Jordan Reed, obviously, that's
Yeah.
with Kirk Cousins throwing, so he's got a little bit of a
And
stack
let's
there.
not even talk about Melvin Gordon and how fucking amazing he's been.
Well, yeah, and against Houston, who was 26th against the
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of nice pieces on Phil's team, a lot of players who are at the peak of their potential right now.
But I would say at the same time, so so do you. In the last 4 weeks, Matt Forte, 28, 22, 15, 11. He has been
Yeah, he's been
fire.
really good. New England is middle of the pack, so he could have a decent game there. Do agree with that. I mean, Drew Brees is going against LA, which yeah, they're 10th ranked, but they don't really scare me very much. I think he can
No.
throw it around as well.
And
Although Phil does have Brandon Cooks, so some of those points could be going his way. But on the
same.
flip
Yeah,
side,
yep,
you
I was
got the
about to
flip
say.
side. Yep.
Yeah, Jamison Crowder. Like, there you go. You're taking points away from Kirk Cousins.
True. Yeah, very true with that.
Delaney Walker, I like against Chicago, especially. They're not going to have Jay Cutler, so
Yeah.
that could be a stomp.
Yep. Do agree with that. Jordy, I think it should be a good play with the way that Aaron Rodgers has been playing.
Okay, but
the other running backs have a little concern on
that's
my
where
end.
I wanted to ask you about that. I think Matt Forte is looking great. Jonathan Stewart, the first game you had him,
Oh man, so good that first game.
last couple weeks.
Last
not
couple
so-
weeks, his yards per carry is fucking deplorable. Like it's like 1.5 yards per carry or something like that. Very touchdown dependent, which is a bummer because Cam Newton seems to be running the ball a bit more now than he has earlier in the season, which is kind of snaking some goal line carries away from Stewart. So definitely don't have a lot of confidence in him. He can certainly have a good game and get a touchdown, but not the same confidence as the first 2 weeks that I had Jay Stu when I got him from Derek.
I will say this: Oakland's not the best against the run.
Yeah,
Um,
true, which is nice.
And my other question, Carlos Hyde.
I would say I'm not like super hot on Carlos Hyde, but he looked pretty decent last week. So that last week was the second week he was back from injury, and I mean he ran 19 for 86. So obviously didn't get into the end zone, but had a good yards per carry, and his workload increased significantly. So at least he's the workhorse again in that backfield. And I mean Miami has a pretty good defense. I'm playing them this week, but I still expect that Hyde will be involved a good bit, and so I feel pretty decent about that.
The thing is, oh man, this is so tough because the truth is I obviously we've always known that your your wideouts have been your strength and your QB. Obviously, you drafted early. He's been the top or one of the top, or if not, on the top. But your running backs had gotten stronger as of late. But the funny thing is like I do have just a couple question marks, just those two question marks: Carlos Hyde, Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah.
I don't really see very many any question marks on Phil's team. Kirk Cousins may have been a question mark, but
not anymore.
Not anymore. Todd Gurley may have been a question mark, but against New
I feel like Phil is like almost guaranteed to at least drop 100 points. And has a very high ceiling to go well into like the 140 range, where I feel like if my team somehow went up that high, like they have very much outperformed their expectations. So this is going to be the first week that I'm actually going to pick against my own team in Pick'ems.
Dude, I don't know if that's a good idea, man. That
could
be
obviously. I can't say it's a bad idea because I've picked my team every week and I'm sub 500, so I don't think I'm taking a huge risk here.
Man, well, I hope we don't voodoo something. Maybe we are going to voodoo. Maybe we're going to voodoo it for you to win or for Phil to lose or something. But
maybe I'm doing a little Glasgow voodoo right here, and I'm picking the other team.
See, the thing is I'm also going to have to agree, and it's not by much, because I think obviously this is going to be a very close game. I think a lot of it is going to depend on Drew Brees. If he has a monster game,
yeah, I need that.
It could easily go in your favor. But at the same time, all the way through, all the way down the line, I have less questions about Phil's team than I do about your team, and I don't even have very many questions about your team. It's just those two
in comparison, especially, yeah.
So I don't know. I know you've got Dion Lewis. He may be coming up in the future.
Basically everybody on my bench is not playing this week unless somehow LaShawn McCoy is out. I would very seriously consider playing Mike Gillislee.
Would you plug Chris Ivory in over Carlos Hyde or Jonathan Stewart? What do you think?
Not at this point. I mean, TJ Yeldon getting injured last week certainly helps, but I just don't think that Chris Ivory has the consistency and workload that would justify him going in over either one of those guys that are clear-cut number ones going to get the workloads. So it's hard to imagine I'd play Chris Ivory right now at least.
Yeah, well, we will definitely see how this all plays out, but I think I'm going to have to agree and give Phil the nod.
Fair enough. Yeah, can't fault you on that. So, all right, that leaves us with two match-ups. Why don't we do John's real quick, just because a little bit more implication in that game, because John's obviously still fighting for the second bye week, and Jimmy is certainly very, very strong in the hunt to at least make the playoffs, if not more.
Well, wait a minute. If I were to lose out and John were to win out, he could take the number one spot, couldn't he?
Well, wait. Is that? I guess that's true.
So the truth is I've just secured a bye.
That's what we said earlier. You've secured a bye. You've secured the playoffs, obviously, but you haven't secured the number one spot yet.
Okay, so John he's fighting. He's fighting to get that number one. He's fighting to get that bye over Derek.
He's still fighting for a bye, whereas you are not fighting for a bye.
He's got a lot of question marks on his team.
Question marks, which probably is more cosmetic, if anything. I mean, I expect Julio is going to play. Latavius Murray is going to play. Tom Brady is going to play. They put Tom Brady on the injury report every week because he's a fucking old man, basically, at this point.
Yeah,
he's
Julio.
not seriously injured. Julio's not seriously injured. He's an old man as well. Sproles is a serious concern.
Yeah,
for the designation there.
As much as it says Matthews is the one who is more
more
unlikely.
Mark.
Yeah, more unlikely to play.
And
than
John,
Sproles.
but John did the smart play, which I was trying to pick up Wendell Smallwood as well. So I think it's looks like a wait and see situation for that game's not till Monday, so he's not. I don't think he'll know exactly what he's doing until much later this week. But he has the luxury of not having to worry about that, unless that question mark for Sproles is still there on Monday, and it's like, well, fuck, is he gonna play or is Wendell Smallwood gonna be the leader? Like, are they both gonna play? It could be one of those situations too.
Yeah,
which those always suck.
You know, looking at this right now, I think I can make my pick right away.
Oh my god! Wow, you are just hot on it right now, Brian. Calm down, Brian.
Sorry, John. I think I'm going to pick Jimmy for this.
Whoa. Well, I mean, I guess it's not shocking because Jimmy is the outright and by a good margin points leader of our league right now. His team really consistently puts up huge points. So not a huge shock that you would look at his lineup and say that's a winner right there.
Well, the funny thing is okay, both people or both John and Jimmy are without some of their top wideouts. AJ Green obviously is done. Alshon Jeffrey suspended.
Yep.
However, Jimmy's team is just because I feel, and it's because Dez Bryant is having this like resurgence over these last couple weeks that now all of a sudden, because on top of AJ Green, he also had Dez Bryant and Amari Cooper, who are both pretty damn good. He had picked up Jay Ajayi, who obviously has been
really good.
I would say one of the top waiver wire picks of the year. That 3-week stretch of 35, 30, and 20.
And I'm still not worried about his last 2 weeks. Obviously, he's not getting into the 200 yards mark anymore. But look at his carries to his yards. I mean, if he gets in the end zone in either of those games, they're really good games. So I'm not worried about Jay Ajayi at all.
No, and he's got DeMarco Murray, who's been fucking amazing this year.
Crazy how good he's been.
Yeah, it's just it's unreal. I actually I like Sterling Shepard against Cleveland much better than I like Marvin Jones against Minnesota. Marvin Jones has not been impressive over his last few weeks.
I would personally say Marvin Jones is, well, I mean, unless you have to play him, he's been kind of unplayable the last few weeks.
Yeah, and Tom Brady against the Jets, yikes! Like, I feel like if there's any team that Brady does not play well, it is. That's a good point.
Teams. That's a good historical. Recent history matchup right there that Tom Brady tends to have some trouble with.
Just all the he has.
Yeah,
and he
Doug Martin against Seattle. Darren Sproles banged up pretty bad.
Now,
Larry Fitz has a good matchup.
Yeah, that's true against Atlanta. Funny enough, as shitty as Carolina has been on defense, they're fourth against the run.
Yeah, so Latavius did not look good at all last week against Houston. I was watching that game. He could not get it going.
No, it was all on catches that he got most of his points, right?
Yeah, it was all on the PPR and getting some receptions, exactly. So, fuck, I think I have to give this one to Jimmy as well, which hurts me to say because Jimmy is one of my top competitors in the standing right now. Like, him and I are kind of in the top areas as far as points for. We have the same record, so I'd love to see him get knocked down a peg, but I just don't see it happening this week.
No. Yeah, sorry, John. Or we might have just voodooed you a win. Who knows?
Ooh, yeah. Now, fuck that voodoo. I don't buy it.
Well, hey, we don't know what the fantasy gods decide. So Yeah, I think that's pretty damn safe.
Yeah, Jimmy's team just looking so good, and I got to say Frank Gore has been a very nice surprise for the entire season, considering I think Jimmy drafted him in probably like the 7th round or something like that, and he's getting like 2nd round production from Frank Gore. So really nice play there, especially with the quarterback that's going to come in. I could see them going heavy on the run for that game. Obviously, DeMarco is a monster. I can see Big Ben having a huge game against Indy this week. Eifert can definitely step up big with A.J. Green going out.
That's true. That's probably going to be who benefits the most, like from A.J. Green going out, is Tyler Eifert.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Be a huge pick there. I think Amari could have a huge game against Carolina this week because Carolina against the pass has been really bad. So, yeah, there's a lot of just good upside, I would say, for Jimmy's team. And John just has a lot more question marks.
Yeah, I think, we agree.
Yeah. All right. Damn, we are very consistent with our picks this week. So far, we have not strayed at all.
Well, we're just looking at a piece of paper, and we're trying to read what the piece of paper tells us. The piece of paper is not always right. How many times can I say piece of paper?
Piece of paper. Slice of paper. Slice of paper.
Slice. Piece pie. Pizza pie.
I just wish the podcast would just turn into that. Slice of pie, paper,
pizza pie, pizza pie. All right. So last matchup is me against Chris. Now Chris has, like we talked about earlier, he has fought his way back 2 wins in a row to get his hopes and dreams knocked down by me this week.
Ooh, wow. That's baby. Shots just immediately fired. Love that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to think because Chris has got an interesting setup that's going to be going on if this trade goes through, and I'm not sure if it's going to go through tonight or tomorrow or how it's going to work, if he's going to have these players for at least this week.
I think it'll go it should go through tomorrow. If not, I even think Joey should push it through because obviously they're trying to make.
Are there any of these players, the players that are being traded, that are playing on Thursday? Andrew Luck's playing on Thursday.
But that's not a factor.
Well, I mean, his team's playing on Thursday, but he's out.
Not for
Landry. Is Landry playing?
No, Landry's playing on Sunday.
What about?
Nope, and Kelvin Benjamin's on Sunday as well. So,
okay.
Yeah. So Chris is definitely going to have a couple wide receiver pieces to plug in. Obviously, he's looking to plug at least one of them in his lineup right now. It'll be. I don't know who he would play in the Jarvis Landry versus Kelvin Benjamin situation. He's also got Devontae Adams, who's been super strong on Green Bay. Golden Tate has been coming on pretty hot lately too. So I don't know what Chris is really going to do, honestly.
Yeah, it's a question, and Gronk may not play again. Now, I don't know what happened last week. I mean, Gronk was Gronk.
He did not play last week.
Yeah, he did not play last week, and for some reason, Martellus Bennett just didn't get any love at all.
Which is crazy because that was a huge scoring game for Tom Brady too.
Yeah. So all right.
One fucking reception. Yeah, that's strange. It's hard to imagine that would happen again.
Now, I'm not sure what he's going to do with Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews against Green Bay.
Green Bay has been shredded. They might be the worst
they're last.
Defense.
They are, or sorry, the 31st, the second to last. So I would imagine that Jordan Matthews stays in the lineup. Tyrell Williams has been pretty decent.
He's been good. I like Tyrell Williams a lot.
So that could stay in. Obviously, Le'Veon's going to be.
Yeah, Le'Veon's staying in. Obviously, Steve Smith's been really good. He is like the resurgence of Steve Smith coming back from the injury, and he is fucking fired up. He's all on social media, talking a bunch of trash right now. He is fired up.
Well, so I mean, I think Chris's team is really in much better shape than it was a little while ago. I don't know about Jordan Howard.
That's going to be interesting.
I mean, especially, yeah, I just don't buy the Bears. Now they lost Zach Miller. Alshon's, on suspension. No Jay Cutler. Like, I have no idea
That's
what the
the
hell.
thing, though. I think Jordan Howard is the last person that it really affects. Also, yeah, I don't know. Did you say Zach Miller out on injury too?
Yep.
I feel like if anything, they just are going to be forced to run the ball more.
Yeah, but don't you think that means that defenses will just be like just ready
Yeah,
for that?
That's true. Stack the box, and also game flow. As far as the Bears are not going to be winning or leading.
Yeah, they're going to be
in
playing
these
against
games, they're going to
Tennessee,
be
who's been
playing
hot,
behind. Exactly.
Yeah, they're going to be playing Tennessee, who's like been super hot. So, like, the funny thing is I think this is going to be one of my toughest matches in the year, just because it looks like Chris has just got a really well put together team for this particular week. However, I'm not missing any pieces. I've got, I lost Zach Miller, but I was fortunate enough to have the number one waiver pick.
You went Zach to Zach.
Yeah, Zach to Zach. And
ZTZ, baby.
Has been looking, decent for, I would say, for tight end the last couple weeks.
He's been looking pretty good lately.
And I'm not looking for my tight end to be a superstar. I just need him not to hurt me and just get some points. Zeke against Washington. I mean, come on, Zeke's first game on Thanksgiving. I'm feeling it might be. Washington's not an easy. Well, oh shit, 24th against.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, Zeke
not
is
too bad.
Obviously matchup proof. I could see, I've always could see him having a big game.
LeGarrette Blount,
He's been really good too.
I just can't ever bet against him just because. No, Lamar Miller. I'm sorry. I hate to say this because it's so true. I think Lamar Miller is gonna shred San Diego on fucking Sunday.
He should. He should. Yeah.
And I'm not really sure. The one player I'm worried about the absolute most is T.Y. Hilton this week.
Oh, really? Okay. Actually, I didn't think you were going to say that.
You thought I was worried about Michael Crabtree?
Yes.
Well, as much as I know he's supposed to play,
not for his health status, just his overall productivity status.
Now, look, all right. Just the last 2 weeks have been, not that great, right?
Yeah. Pretty bad, really bad.
But look at his targets over those weeks. The problem is he's been dropping the balls. He's not, he's had a couple bad weeks, but the targets haven't gone down. I think it said, if I looked at his numbers from last week, it said that he was 3 of 7 targets last week and 2 of 6 the week before that. So the targets are still coming his way. Obviously, Amari is the number one in that offense, but at the same time, he gets a lot of he still is one of the top wideouts as far as red zone looks. I know I saw a couple of those go his way, this last Monday. It didn't happen, or it didn't come down with any of them, but at the same time, I'm just not worried. I'm not worried about Michael Crabtree just yet. I would say 1 or 2 more weeks. Let's just say if I end the season, if I go to week 13 and he has another couple games down, well, then there is a big reason why I picked up Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins.
There's a big reason I picked up Devontae Parker. And
nice little flyer pick right there for sure.
Exactly. Just a few of those picks just for the playoff stretch, just in case somebody just doesn't pan out. I've been worried about Julian Edelman for a while, but he's been coming on the last couple of weeks.
He's been much more solid the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, pretty much since Brady came back, Edelman's stock has gone up for sure.
Absolutely, and I feel I got some good pieces on my bench just in case I do need them. Terrence West has been a little bit better, even though Dixon is, I would say, that big cloud. Tim Hightower, I've been amazed about since I picked him up.
Huge pickup for you just to fill in, especially
just to fill in,
for all the buys and stuff like that.
So I think it's going to be really close. I think Chris has got a lot of good momentum coming on in, but at the same time, so do I. I've got my full team. I'm feeling really nice and confident. I think I'm barely going to get this one out. I think I'm going to eke it out. I'm going to give myself a slight edge. That's where I'm going.
All right. God, I think I'm going to call this as the closest matchup of the week.
Great. If history is going to tell us anything, that this means it's going to be.
It's going to be a fucking blowout.
Oh, I don't like to hear that.
I mean, no, but out of all the matches we've been looking at, I felt pretty confident in picking one way over the other. And man, this one just is so tough for me to pick. God, I want to say, I want to give this to Chris, but it's the hardest part is that I don't know what he's going to do. He's about to come into having 2 more wide receivers on his team. I feel like he's fucking overrun with wide receiver options now. Like, I don't know who the hell he's going to play.
It's because that's where he felt he was always the weakest. And
but I feel like he just picked up like a couple more sort of middle tier wide receivers to join his kind of middle tier wide receiver core. Like, yeah, he has much more depth at wide receiver now, but I don't know who the clear cut like must starts are of that week. That's where you get into trouble of like, fuck, I put in the wrong guy and the guy on my bench scored 20 points.
I would say that is the absolute most frustrating thing about fantasy football is when you do that to yourself and put yourself in that position where you give yourself too many choices and you're second guessing. Like, that's why I feel like it's always good to always have just a backup, one backup. Like, let's say, you have 2 running backs that you're always going to start every single week. Oh, one of those running backs is injured or on bye. Put in the backup. No choices, no second guessing. You have your starters and then you have your number 2. But if you have like 5 or 6, like let's just say you have 2 positions that you need to start and you've got 4 players to choose from, what are you doing to yourself? Like, if they're all even, if they're all the same, oh, now you're looking at matchups. Now you're looking at past history. Now you're giving yourself too much of a brain game. I don't know.
True. Yeah, you got a lot of choices, a lot of thinking to do.
What do you think?
I feel like I'm taking the safe pick, and I'll pick your team as well.
Ooh.
Just, you've got the same people that have been kind of tested and true for you, and Chris just has a little bit more kind of tinkering, I guess, to do, and it's hard to say how that's going to play out. I don't even know what his lineup's fully going to look like either, so it's really hard to have a ton of confidence and say, yep, Chris's team's going to win, when I'm not even sure which wide receivers he's going to play. So I think I'm going to have to pick you.
Well, I will say this. Well, I appreciate your pick, but I will say this: we are going to know a lot after Thursday because I got 4 people going on Thursday. I got Zeke, I've got T.Y. Hilton, Steelers defense, and Dan Bailey.
And Chris has got his quarterback and his stud running back going on Thursday too.
Oh, dude, those 2 games. I'm going to be watching like crazy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, like both Chris and I have some, like we're probably going to be texting or even talking on the phone like throughout it.
Grandma, get this fucking turkey out of my face. I'm trying to watch the Cowboys game.
God damn it. Yeah, seriously. No.
You made me miss Zeke the Weed Sneak's run. Grandma, God damn it.
I missed the weed sneak, god damn it. Not the weed sneak. I wanted to see the weed sneaker, Grandma.
The weed sneak. Fuck, I'm throwing this cat out of the window.
Yeah, exactly. Sacrifice another cat. That's for my win.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, we're going very consistent this week. We've both picked the same pick'ems through and through, so let's see what kind of curses or not we've thrown out here. It's gonna be a fun one.
Can you review them really quick?
Yeah, so we've got Nick winning. Well, see, I didn't write down who they're playing, so I don't know.
All right, well, okay. Let me just bring it up and I'll tell you. So Nick against
we've got
Nick against Derek.
Nick against Derek. We've got Joey
against Misha.
Phil against me,
you,
which is the curse pick. We've got Jimmy
against John,
and then you against Chris.
Okay.
All right. It's going to be a fun week. A lot of games tomorrow. Cool Thursday. Not the typical shitty Thursday night games, but some real Thanksgiving turkey fests. And then it'll be a fun weekend as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Are you going to be? What are you going to be doing on the weekend itself on Sunday?
I don't know what I'll be doing in the morning. I might miss some of the morning games, but I'm definitely going to be watching a lot of the afternoon, evening, Sunday night game. So there'll be a good bit of watching going on in the second half of the day.
Okay, that should be fun. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what I'm going to do either.
Hopefully I'll be watching some of it.
Oh, I'll be watching it. I just don't know if I'm going to be doing like what you said I was doing, like streaming it on my computer, throwing glass up against
Yeah.
a window.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
shit- That did, yes, that did happen. That was really.
That's a good image to have.
Oh, but,
All right. Well, let's fucking wrap this up with a neat little bow and get the fuck out of here.
yeah. So we wanted to give you a message from our sponsors. It's I believe it. I'm not sure if I'm reading the name correctly. I think it. Let me just whip out my notes here. I think it is Lurch Anal Beads. I think it's something like this. Lurch Anal Beads.
Yeah.
Apparently they tickle you like you've never been tickled before. They even have a remote control app that you can download on your smartphone. If you're not being tickled in your asshole enough, make sure that you whip out your little anal beads.
Yeah, that's a great product for Nick right there. Yeah, I mean when Tina's strap on just not quite hitting the spot, take things into your own hands and get the Lurch anal beads.
With the smartphone app that comes.
Gotta be tech savvy when it comes to butt play.